The power struggles, betrayals, and alliances in Game of Thrones might seem like pure fantasy, but they're actually based on real historical families. From the cunning Lannisters to the honorable Starks, each house has a real-life counterpart that was just as ruthless, powerful, and scandalous. Today, we're comparing the houses of Westeros to their historical inspirations in a battle of truth versus fiction. First up, let's dive into House Lannister versus the Borgias, the ultimate battle of cunning, wealth, and power. House Lannister versus the Borgias. House Lannister, the wealthiest and most cunning family in Westeros. They've got gold, power, and the talent for backstabbing. But did you know that the real-life version of the Lannisters lived in Renaissance Italy? Meet the Borgias, the original power family of the Vatican. While the Lannisters were known for their ruthlessness, the Borgias practically wrote the book on it. Tywin Lannister, the cold and calculating patriarch, bears a striking resemblance to Rodrigo Borgia, who became Pope Alexander VI in 1492. Like Tywin, Rodrigo wasn't afraid to use any means necessary to secure power for his family. Bribery? Check. Blackmail? Absolutely. Poison? Oh, you better believe it. Now let's talk about the daughters. Cersei Lannister, the ambitious queen, who would do anything to keep her family on top, has her real-life match in Lucrezia Borgia. Lucrezia was known for her beauty, but the gossip around her life suggests she was just as dangerous as Cersei. Rumors claimed she used poison to eliminate her family's enemies, and, much like Cersei, she was fiercely loyal to her father and brother. And what about Jaime Lannister? Meet Caesar Borgia, Rodrigo's son and his right-hand man. Like Jaime, Caesar was both a warrior and a political enforcer. When the Borgias needed someone to do their dirty work, whether it was eliminating rivals or leading armies, Caesar was the man for the job. He even turned on his own allies when it suited him, much like Jaime's complicated allegiances in Game of Thrones*. But while the Lannisters ruled with gold and steel, the Borgias ruled with poison and power plays. Their legacy is one of manipulation, murder, and betrayal, just like our favorite Westeros family. In the end, both the Lannisters and the Borgias built empires that crumbled under the weight of their own ambition. House Stark versus the Plantagenets. Now let's head north to Winterfell. House Stark, loyal, honorable, and fiercely protective of their family. But their real-life counterparts, the Plantagenets, show us that being honorable in the Game of Thrones doesn't always end well. The Plantagenets were the kings of England, and much like the Starks, they were defined by their sense of duty and loyalty to their land. King Richard II, for instance, believed in the Plantagenet legacy and tried to rule with honor. But like Ned Stark, he learned the hard way that honor often gets you killed. Richard was deposed by his cousin, Henry IV, his own blood. Just as the Stark family faced betrayals from their own allies, the Plantagenets were torn apart by internal conflicts. The Wars of the Roses, a series of bloody battles between the houses of Lancaster and York, left the family divided and weakened. Think of it as a real-life version of the Boltons betraying the Starks. Power struggles within the family ultimately led to their downfall, much like what happened to the noble Starks. And much like Robb Stark's tragic end at the Red Wedding, Richard II, the last Plantagenet king, faced betrayal at the Battle of Bosworth. His own allies abandoned him, leading to his defeat and the end of the Plantagenet dynasty. The story of the Starks and the Plantagenets shows that in the Game of Thrones, loyalty and honor aren't always enough. House Targaryen versus the Romanovs. Now let's dive into House Targaryen, the dragon-riding rulers of Westeros. The Targaryens ruled with fire and blood, and their story of rise and fall is mirrored in the real-life Romanovs of Russia. The Romanovs, like the Targaryens, were powerful rulers who controlled one of the largest empires in history. Tsar Nicholas II, the last of the Romanovs, was much like Daenerys. He was the head of a powerful family determined to hold onto power. But while Daenerys faced rebellion in the Seven Kingdoms, Nicholas faced revolution in Russia. Just like the Targaryens' history of bloody power struggles, the Romanovs' reign was marked by brutal crackdowns and attempts to suppress dissent. And then there's the influence of mysterious figures. Rasputin, a mystic and advisor, held a grip on the Romanov family, much like how the Targaryens were influenced by powerful figures like the Red Priestess, Melisandre. The Russian people viewed Rasputin's power as a sign of corruption, just as many in Westeros viewed the Targaryens' reliance on their dragons and magic as a sign of weakness. In the end, the Romanovs faced the same fate as the Targaryens, a violent end at the hands of revolutionaries. When the Bolsheviks seized power, they executed the Romanov family, just as Daenerys faced betrayal and death after her attempt to claim the Iron Throne. The parallels are striking. Both families were powerful, but their downfall was inevitable. House Tyrell versus the Medici. House Tyrell, known for its wealth, influence, and gentle facade, has a perfect real-life match in the Medici family of Florence. The Tyrells controlled Westeros' food supply, just as the Medicis controlled the wealth of Italy through banking. And just like the Tyrells, the Medici knew how to navigate the political landscape with charm and subtlety. Lady Olenna Tyrell, the Queen of Thorns, was as sharp and cunning as any Medici. The Medicis used their wealth to influence politics, even placing family members in the papacy. But beneath the elegance of Florence lay the same cutthroat ambition. Lorenzo de' Medici, like Olenna, was willing to do whatever it took to keep his family on top. And just like in Game of Thrones *, the Medicis faced their own power struggles. The Pazzi conspiracy, an attempt to assassinate Lorenzo, was a reminder that even the most influential families aren't safe from betrayal. While the Tyrells ultimately fell when they lost their alliances, the Medici's empire also crumbled under the weight of political enemies. From the Lannisters to the Targaryens, the houses of Game of Thrones may be fictional, but their stories are deeply rooted in the real-life drama of history's greatest dynasties. Which real-life dynasty do you think is the most like a Game of Thrones counts? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more episodes of Game of Thrones versus History. Thanks for watching.